In today's video, I've got the brand new practice mute from Divitt Trumpets, as well as some mystery mutes that just showed up in the mail. What's going on, everyone? My name is Josh Rzepka, and today is Mute Monday. If you're new around here, Mute Monday is a weekly series where I discuss and demonstrate different trumpet mutes. Today I'm very excited to be sharing a little bit of new with the old. As far as the new is concerned, this is the brand new practice mute from Divitt Trumpets. And when I say brand new, I mean brand new. I just got it in the mail and they just announced this mute today. And this is a great practice mute. Check this out. This is a 3D printed mute, and that seems to be the theme of 2020 is 3D printed mutes. Check that out. You can see it's got a pretty unique shape as far as different practice mutes that are out there. And it's got a nice foam here. And you can see there's foam on the bottom where you would put it down. And this is a late prototype. I spoke with Ewan just today, and he told me that the production model is just only a little bit different from this, not in dimensions or construction, just that on the inside here there's one more piece of foam that he puts inside. So this is basically exactly what you're going to get if you buy one of these mutes. Now, like some of the other 3D printed mutes out there, Huber mutes to be specific, this mute was born out of lockdown. And when I was talking to Ewan, he basically said that he started working on this just earlier in the year, I think in March. And by last month, he finally came up with the final design. And he made over 40 different prototypes. You heard that right, 40 different prototypes until he really got this design. And he was looking for something very specific when he was making this practice mute. He was looking for a mute that played in tune. And what I mean by that is, when you take this mute and you put it in the trumpet, you don't have to change the tuning slide at all. That was the thing that surprised me the most. As soon as I put this mute in, I knew that he had created something a little bit different, because every practice mute that I have, when you put it in, you've got to adjust the slide a little bit. It generally makes the pitch sharper, and a lot of times that's because of the shape and the design, where they're trying to keep it small so that it fits inside of your bell. But Ewan decided he was going to make a new practice mute that was free blowing and easy to play and was dead in tune. And I think he really nailed it. If you're unfamiliar with Divitt Trumpets, with Ewan Divitt, he is based in the Toronto area of Canada, and he is a fantastic trumpet builder. He makes custom trumpets, and he's been doing that for a number of years now. And well, now he's making mutes. So I'm very excited to be playing this for you in just a minute. Now, I've got some mystery mutes here, and yeah, that's right, I've got some mystery mutes. Sometimes even I'm stumped. It may seem as though I know what every single mute is that's out there, but I don't. I am learning just like everyone else, and fortunately I have a lot of friends who are also pretty big into mutes, and generally speaking, between all of us, we can usually identify a mute. However, I've got a couple here that I haven't been able to identify yet. So maybe one of you has seen one of these mutes and you know what it is. This is a very unusual and unique Harman mute. It just showed up in the mail. I got it in an eBay auction, and check that out. Very unique shape. There are no markings on this mute. There are no stickers. There are no stamps. There is no engraving. There is nothing to indicate what company or brand made this mute. I can't really tell exactly how old it is based on the construction or any of the materials. Sometimes there's some giveaways, especially with straight mutes and cut mutes, depending on what type of glue they used or what type of paint they used. But aluminum, if you take good care of it and keep it from oxidizing, it's going to stay good for a really, really long time. So unfortunately, I can't really identify it like that. Check this out. When I take the stem out, you can see the shape on the top. Very interesting. And I gotta say, this isn't a terrible Harman mute. This is a very, decent Harman mute. It plays pretty well, and I'll demonstrate it for you. So this is one of the mystery mutes. Now here is another mystery mute, and this is one that I was able to identify. And I had a pretty good idea of what this mute was, as it was being shipped to me, but it wasn't really until I got it in my hands and I was able to kind of inspect it that I knew exactly what I was dealing with. When you look at it, it basically looks like a old Ray Robinson mellow wah. However, check out the bottom. A mellow wah mute does not have a cup on the bottom. So that was something that threw me a little bit based off of the pictures from the eBay auction. However, when I was able to inspect it close, I could see right here where the label used to be. That is exactly the same shape and size as the old Ray Robinson Mellow Wah label. So I knew that that's what this was. And then also based on the construction, how there's no rivets, and the paint job, and basically the dimensions and shape. However, somebody at some point in time took a cup and also a new tube, and they put it inside of this mute, and well, they didn't do it any favors. It actually does not play very well. It is very out of tune, and I'm not going to demonstrate this because it needs to be restored. It needs a lot of work. So I'm going to take this and see if I can get this fixed up so that I can have it, because this is a mute that I've actually been looking for a very long time. And maybe sometime soon I will do an entire video on mute restoration, and maybe I can talk to some of my friends that do that type of work, and I can interview them and maybe put it all together. So we'll see about that. But here is another mystery mute, and this, I'm stumped. I don't know what it is. And the couple friends I've showed this to, they don't know what it is either. Obviously, this is a cup mute, but it is well, it's an adjustable cup mute. And if you look on the inside, it's not really a felt that's on the inside. I believe it's some type of a spray material. And the cup of this is not wood. It is not metal. It's a plastic type material. And this top part of the mute, that is made out of cardboard. But on the bottom of the mute, check this out, on the very bottom of the mute, there is a wooden resonator. So I don't know what company made this. It is not the usual suspects. So this is a bit of a mystery, and I'm researching, I'm trying to find out what this is. One of the things that I do in my process when I'm trying to figure out what an old mute is, first I reach out to my network and all of my friends who have these mute collections. A lot of them have been collecting mutes for a very long time, so sometimes they've got a good idea. But if not, then I really just need to start looking through old videos of trumpeters that are playing, maybe find some old advertisements in old newspapers or journals that were posted, that were scanned and put online. So there's a lot of things that I can do to kind of research, and that's stuff that I've done for past videos when I've gotten a obscure mute. And that's one of the things that I really love about all these old mutes, is that every so often you run into a mute that is it's unusual, and it was probably made by someone that didn't make that many mutes, or it was made by a company that was trying out something new and they only made a handful of them, or maybe they made 100 or 1,000. They didn't make that many of them, and 50, 80, 100 years later, there aren't that many lying around, and there isn't really that much evidence that they really existed. It's really cool, just to run across these every so often. So right now I'm going to demonstrate this brand new mute from Divitt Trumpets, and then I'm also going to play for you this Harmon Mute. I'm not going to play this cup mute because it actually needs a little bit of work. The resonator on the bottom is loose. So I'm going to play these two mutes for you, and here we go. All right, so you've just heard both of these mutes, and what did you think? Which one was your favorite? Let me know in the comments below. Now, starting off with this mute from Divitt Trumpets, what did you think about this practice mute? I've got to say I was very impressed by this mute. It is just incredible how he was able to design a mute where the intonation is just so spot on. From an open horn to putting it in, it doesn't change at all. So very, very impressed by this mute. And it's got a cool shape, it's got a cool design, I really dig it. I'm a big fan of the foam on the practice mutes. It really helps the mute stay in the bell and get a perfect seal. So a lot of great things going for this mute. As far as playability, this mute really, it responds well, it plays very evenly throughout the registers, it is easy to play, very nice. The sound that comes out of this mute, it's not the quietest mute of any practice mute out there. That being said, this is perfectly fine as far as practice mutes are concerned. You can use this at home, in an apartment, any place you need to use a practice mute. You can use this and you're going to be fine. It's not going to bother anyone. The sound that comes out of this is a little bright when you lean into it, but if you're playing really soft, it is very, very soft and it doesn't have that brightness. So I'm very impressed with this mute. It plays very well. I'm really just blown away by how in tune it is when you put it in and take it out. And I think that people are really going to appreciate that once they start using it. If you have to use a practice mute at home, one of the terrible things about so many mutes out there, you put it in your bell and you've got to adjust your tuning slide. Maybe only a little bit, but sometimes you got to move your tuning slide a 1/2 inch or 3/4 of an inch. Depends on the mute. Sometimes you really need to adjust it quite a bit. That just takes you further away from, you know, kind of the natural place of playing the trumpet. So I think it's great that now you don't have to do that. You can put this in. It is nice and easy to play. Does not have that much resistance, and it is going to work great for so many people. So as I mentioned earlier, this mute was just announced. It was just released today, and if you're looking to pick one of these up and you're in the United States, don't worry, you don't have to order it from Canada. Ewan told me that he sent some of these mutes to Josh Landress in New York and to Trent Austin at Austin Custom Brass. So you can pick these mutes up from one of them and you don't have to worry about it shipping all the way from Canada. Now, what about this Harmon Mute? This is pretty interesting, pretty cool, right? And a very unique design, a very unique shape, and I gotta say it played all right. Nothing about it was particularly great. Nothing about it was particularly bad. So, you know, there was no reason that this Harmon Mute was really gonna take off, and I imagine that is the reason that I haven't seen one of these before and that we don't see them more often because, well, there's nothing really exceptional about it and there's no company stamping on it. So maybe if it were from a big manufacturer that was making all these other mutes, they could have just kind of kept it in production on the side, even if they weren't selling a lot of units. It seems as though this was either a prototype or a one-off or from a company that just made mutes for a little bit of time and then they kind of disappeared. It really takes a special mute, something that is just great from the beginning in order to have that longevity. And of course, someone has to be managing the company properly in order for it to be around 50, 60, 80, 100 years later. But it's really very interesting to find all of these old mutes and go through that history and try and learn what they are. So if you have any idea what these mutes are that I can't identify, let me know below. Send me a message. I would be very interested to hear. I'm always trying to learn more about mutes. Well, that's all I've got for you today. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. Hit that subscribe button. It really makes a very big difference. I want to thank you for watching today, and I will see you in the next video.